hostess with the most Jezebel as always. So it is Wednesday. It is our non-horror movie of the week, and we are going to talk about an 80s classic, an 80s comedy classic in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which came out in 1982. So before we crack into this, fun little fact for you guys. So this has a few people that have been in horror movies, mainly some 80s classic gems. First up, we are going to start off with Rat, which is played by, let me get his name, Brian Becker, who was in The Burning a year before this. We have Amanda Weiss, who 2 years later starred in Nightmare on Elm Street, the first, yes, the OG. Thirdly, we also have Pamela Springsteen, blink and you'll miss her in this movie right here. But she went on to go ahead and carry on the Sleepaway Camp series, take on the role of Angela in parts 2 and 3. So fun little fact, I know there are other people such as Phoebe Cates, who was in Gremlins and Gremlins 2. I know everyone else was kind of like vaguely in like other horror movies, but that is your little fun fact for the more like undercarded people, whatevs. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like I said, this came out in 1982. Fun movie, amazing soundtracks, one of my favorite soundtracks across the board to any movie, yes. And this is just such a fun quotable quotable movie. You know, perfect example, Spicoli is coming to class. He's trying to find his class on the first day of school, and of course his first class is with Mr. Hand. Mr. Hand, of course, tears up his little like schedule and everything. Is like, oh, you gotta be here on time, go to the principal's office. Of course, Spicoli, in Spicoli fashion, you dick! Gotta love Spicoli, and especially too, like, come on, who else would have the huevos to order a pizza in Mr. Hand's class? Because if you're here and I'm here, doesn't that make it our time? Yeah, exactly. There's this whole movie, especially too, like, back in the day, I don't even know, like, I'm sure the kids are kind of like this now, but whatever, I'm too old to even, like, be in touch with the kids, I don't even know. But it's basically kind of like your usual, like, kind of coming-of-age story. You know, we see Judge Reinhold's character, Brad, and his little sister, played by, oh my god, what is her name? Why am I? Jennifer Jason Leigh. His little sister, who's coming in as a freshman to Ridgemont. Brad, like I said, is a senior. Brad is dating someone. He's actually dating Amanda Weiss's character, and it's kind of like, I don't know, you know, I'm a senior, you know, maybe I should, you know, this will be my last year of freedom before college and stuff. She ends up breaking with him using, like, the same story that he was gonna, like, use to, like, break up with her, which is classic. I give her props for doing that, girl. Just saying. You know, and of course, like, it turns out to be, like, the worst year for Brad, because he just keeps getting, like, fired from each job, or just, like, quitting each job, because he hates it. You know, he's girlfriendless and everything, but whatever. And then, of course, Jennifer Jason Leigh, what do you know, befriends Phoebe Cates because they work at a little pizza place together in the mall. Yes, back when working at the mall was the coolest. I don't even know if it's cool to work in the mall anymore. I don't even know. I don't think so, because I keep watching all those Dead Mall series, whatever. But, so they kind of know each other, and of course, you know, Phoebe Cates' character kind of is like teaching her a lot of things, kind of like, you know, showing her how to be like, you know, sort of like that queen bee in school and everything, teaching her things about sex and everything. Yeah, so that famous little, like, a blowjob with the carrot, you know, she's trying to teach her in the lunchroom how to do oral sex, so they're using a cucumber. That would make sense, but they're using a carrot and everything. She gets embarrassed because a couple of guys are watching her, and then they applaud her when she does it successfully and everything. And of course, you kind of, by the end, you kind of realize, like, Phoebe Cates' character, because the entire movie, she's always like, oh, my boyfriend, oh, he works for the airlines, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you kind of figure like, okay, she's probably just like this stereotypical like high school girl who's like, oh, you basically hook up with this guy whenever he's in town because he's an airline attendant or like a flight attendant. I mean, we kind of realize that, but of course, in her head, she thinks she's all shit and everything because he's older. He's a flight attendant, so he travels the world. And it's like, no, dude, you're just a booty call whenever he comes to California. I'm just saying. Of course, so she kind of just is like one of the, like I said, a queen bee and everything. Doesn't really know too much about guys other than she's just a booty call that she doesn't want to admit to. So, and then of course we also have Damone, who is Rat's best friend and everything. He's trying to do the same thing because he's got a little crush on Jennifer Jason Leigh's character and everything. He's actually a year older in this movie from her, so he's a sophomore where she's a freshman. He's trying to get some like 411 on Damone from Damone and everything. Who once again Damone, we kind of realize really isn't a player or anything. He doesn't have any experience with women. We come to find out later on he's actually a virgin and everything, because, yeah. But yeah, he really doesn't, know what he's talking about. He just, kind of blows smoke up everyone's butt. Also, he, he's a scalper, although you don't call him a scalper. He basically, sells tickets and everything, concert tickets, because, he really just doesn't want to get a real job. He doesn't, he even says too, like, oh, I was this close to working at 7-Eleven. Fun little fact at the end of the movie, in their little, like thing about what happens to these kids after the end of the movie, he ends up working for 7-Eleven, so, rightfully so, because that's the only place he's going to work. But no, this is just a great movie and everything. I love it. Just different little things. I feel like, too, like, this does, I mean, I know this came out in 1982, so, I mean, that's, 36 years ago, but I still feel like kids can kind of, like, relate to some of the experiences, some of that awkwardness, or, like, some of that, like, realization of, like, okay, yeah, our friends don't always know what they're talking about, but still, at the end of the day, they're your friends and stuff. I feel like everyone kind of can pick out at least a few characters that they've kind of knew in high school. Like, I definitely know I knew a few of these characters in school, like those, like, I knew a couple of Spicolis back in the day. I knew a couple of those, Phoebe Cates in school and everything. Oh, yes, I should probably bring up the pool scene. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, even for a girl, that pool scene when Judge Reinhold's having his little, like, daydream with Phoebe Cates coming out of the water, she's looking all seductive, and then, boom, those little boobies come out. Yeah, I get a freaking boner myself whenever I see that. I'll admit it. I like boobies. I don't care. Got a pair of boobies myself. I like seeing other girls' boobies. I'm just saying. There's nothing wrong with that. 100% straight, but I like to see other women's boobies. Just saying. Okay, that's not weird. Whatever. Anyway, but no, I mean, I know that was a very high point for a lot of young men back in the day. Probably still is. I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel like that scene sort of is one of those scenes for young men, for young boys, that is a rite of passage to watch that scene growing up. So I'm just saying, so whatever. I hate to say, I mean, I probably will show this to my nephew one day in a couple of years just to have his rite of passage. Just saying. Whatever. But no, this is a great classic comedy. I mean, God, they don't do comedies like this anymore. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I like Bridesmaids, I like some of the stuff that Melissa McCarthy does and stuff, but God, like, seriously, they don't make them like this anymore. God dang, bring the 80s back, damn it. I'm with Cashier One on this, man. Bring the damn 80s back. Just saying, man. Whatever. But anyway, that is my little review on Fast Times at Ridgemont High. If you have not seen this damn movie, watch it, live it, love it, man. I'm just saying. So, it's fine. Anyway, you guys, till next time, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.